so baby, I'm trying to get away. Trying to lock in the guap, trying to block with the pain. I'm a blonde little boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the vibes, but I'm copping the pain. We out for the stars, or a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitches are jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching to ready. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know what the bros, I got richer than Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti, yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like the Rand do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, now taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in a great estate.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Yankee and the Brit podcast. Now, you may notice that there is only one of us here today, and it is the Brit. Hello guys. Jay unfortunately can't join us this evening because he is spending his lovely wife's birthday together. So Jay, if you're watching, good to see you. Sandy, Jay's wife, if you're watching, also happy birthday. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy your time with Jay as much as I normally do on these Thursdays before the kickoff. And guys, we are now moving into the week 14. So week 14 of this NFL season. This is the week 14 Thursday pregame show. The game kicks off. The Lions versus the Packers kicks off in about an hour. And if you want to spend some time with me here, next half an hour, 45 minutes with me, rather than spending some time with people like, the big broadcasters of the world, then I don't blame you. And you get to come listen to some NFL commentary. And basically, guys, what we do in these shows is we run through our reactions from week 13. We go into some kind of shouty show style overreactions. We normally have a segment called GMJ, but as the GM is not in the house, we'll be missing out on GMJ this week. We've got rookie QB watch to go through some great rookie performances and some potential rookies who are on the bench who maybe might look into starting this coming week. So stay tuned for that. We also have our week 13 awards. So our week 13 MVP and rookie MVP of the season before we move on to looking ahead to week 14 with our Thursday night preview of the Lions versus Packers and our best bets for week 14. And guys, if you're following us on your best bets so far, on our best bets so far this season, if you're following me, you will have won 24 bets. I'm currently 24-15. If you've been following me across the spread in all of the season so far, I'm 112-83. 112 wins, 83 losses across every single game this season, including games that I'd say I wouldn't bet here. So yeah, come stay tuned for that at the end, our week 14 best bets. And I give you the odds as they are on DraftKings right now. If you want to join me in this chat, guys, then get in the chat, get in the chat box, throw something in, say hello. It'd be great to talk to you and talk to you guys about some NFL football. But here we go, guys, with some week 13 reactions. And as a Cowboys fan, this game pained me to watch, but I knew it was coming. The Ravens versus the Eagles. The Ravens defeated in a big game at home, 19-24. The Eagles coming out with the win. And I think the first thing that we have to address is, guys, are the Eagles now firmly the best team in the NFL? That's got to be a given, right? I mean, the Chiefs, maybe the best team in the NFC, 100%. The Lions are obviously there to talk about as well, but with all of their injuries that we'll get into in the show. The Chiefs are also there, but they're playing games close. The Bills are there, but we never know when Josh Allen's going to go into throwing interceptions again. So are the Eagles now firmly the best team in the NFL? And I think when we talk about team, it is a really interesting approach that the NFC take and that the AFC take. The AFC have the best quarterbacks in the league by a mile. If you do a top 10 of the best quarterbacks in this league, most of them are going to be in the AFC. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, just to name a few, right? Most of them are going to be in the AFC, but the NFC is about creating these super teams that they're putting together. The 49ers usually have a super team put together. They've got big names, but they're not playing particularly well. We'll move on to them in a second. The Lions, super team. Jared Goff, a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion, and I know Jay's as well. But the team around him is really important. And the Eagles have done the same thing here. So the Eagles have a deadly run game now with Saquon Barkley there. Saquon Barkley running for 1,499 yards, just one more yard before he breaks 1,500 on the season in rushing yards already. And we have 3 games left to play. 3 games left, and he's at 1,500 yards on the season. And they just massively increase in the second quarter, and it was the same again for the Ravens. So in the second half, So in the second half of games, in the fourth quarter, Saquon Barkley runs for 481 yards across all fourth quarters this season, and he's run for 500 yards across all third quarters this season. That's ridiculous. They're ridiculous numbers. And when you're if they get ahead, they stay ahead. They're able to stay ahead here. And then there's their defense. They're fourth in the league in terms of points per game. That's 18.2 on defense for points per game. Lots of teams around that 18 mark, so it's kind of like a joint third. And then you have the Chargers at the top, who only give up 15 points per game. So the Eagles are huge there, and with their rookie cornerback duo of DeJean and Mitchell, that really comes along. And then that defensive line, especially the 2 stout defensive tackles in the middle. I would give anything for the Cowboys to have a Jalen Carr or a Jordan Davis. I would give anything for that. Like, when you're able to keep Derrick Henry around 80 yards, I think he had 82 yards. That's a really impressive performance from the defensive line. And don't forget Nakobe Dean running it from middle linebacker and those kind of things as well. And Braun has been a revelation this season. He's been incredible. And again, this pains me as a Cowboys fan to say, but for me, they're the best team in the NFL. Now, the one place where they fall down is the passing game isn't quite passing the eye test for me. It still looks disconnected, but I mean, they are running without their second wide receiver. But just to go back to these super teams, they've got AJ Brown at one wide receiver as well. So they've got talent at all levels of the defense. They've got one of the top 2 running backs in the league, in my opinion. I think Jay loves this stat where Saquon Barkley, in his 1,500 rushing yards so far this season, about 1,300 of those are before contact, I believe. Jay loves that stat. So their offensive line is obviously incredible as well. But for me, the passing game isn't quite passing the eye test. So that would be their one weakness here. But for me, I think the Eagles go out there and they beat the Ravens. They could have cemented that they're definitely the best team in the NFC. And with the Lions injuries and the amount of injuries that the Lions had during that game that they played. So yeah, that's definitely for me. Tune in on Sunday for the Brits picks and see if they stay on top of the rankings, depending on how the Lions go tonight as well. So tune in on Sunday. Jay is also going to love that commentary there. I think also what's really important when talking about the Eagles is actually their coaching staff. So I've been a big Nick Sirianni detractor. I think I'm not sure he's like the best coach in the NFL, but one of the best things that he does is he allows his offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore and he allows his defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio to run the game. Like, he allows them to do what they do best. And that's what great coaches do. The hardballs do that because they're not the coordinators on their side of the ball either. So props to Nick Sirianni for that, and props to the coaching team there. I think what's really important to remember in this game, though, is the Ravens might be the most overhyped. They were 8-4 going into this game. They're now 8-5, but they might be one of the most overhyped teams of that record going around the league at the moment, just because of obviously having Derrick Henry and the way that they can smash teams. They have losses to the Browns and the Raiders. Like, in those 5 losses, they've lost to the Browns and the Raiders. They played the Cowboys close early on in the season when the Cowboys couldn't defend any sort of run as well. I think they have a real problem on the defensive side of the ball in terms of actually causing pressure. Not in this game, obviously low scoring game. I think the Eagles, I don't think the Ravens were ever in this game. The Ravens versus the Eagles. I don't think the Ravens were really ever in it. I think the Eagles just kind of kept them at an arm's length, which is weird to say when the scores are so close. But I think like the Eagles were just in total control of that game. So I think they might be one of the most overhyped teams because we do see them. We saw them beat the Bills 35-10. We saw them beat the Broncos 41-10. We saw them run Kansas City close. Isaiah Likely's toenail basically out of beating the Kansas City Chiefs there as well. So the Ravens are a bit of an up and down team. And to me, they looked up and down. And the person who looked the most down for me on the eye test was Lamar Jackson. Now, this whole thing of Lamar Jackson struggling in the big moments, like I get it, like I understand what people are saying here, but he's had plenty of big moments in his career where he has stood up, and we just don't talk about those. So I'm not going to say it's the big moments and those kind of things. But his box score looked kind of good in this game: 237 yards through the air on 23 completions off 36 with 2 touchdowns, so no interceptions. Either, but just the eye test just didn't look good for me in this game. Missed huge passes in big moments, some big passes missed on third down there, and he took some bad sacks. I thought he refused to throw the ball away at times where that ball needed to go, and he took sacks at bad times. And the way that this Ravens team plays, you can't get behind the chains. They can't get behind the chains there. It's not something that they should ever be allowing themselves to do. So, they can't take bad sacks there. And I think just the final point on this game, Saquon Barkley now has to be the MVP frontrunner, right? Just a bit more on Saquon Barkley. Like, tell me in the comments if you agree. Is Saquon Barkley now the MVP frontrunner? For me, definitely. For me, definitely is. The other person who comes close for me is Derrick Henry. Like, people say Josh Allen and stuff like that. And out of the quarterbacks, maybe Josh Allen is, although I think Jaden Daniels maybe makes the biggest difference to an organization so far this season. But they won't give it to a rookie QB. And I think it will be ridiculous if a running back doesn't win the MVP this season. And if a running back doesn't win the MVP this season, then I think it's time to just change the name of the award. And me and Jay knows I think it's time to change the name of this award anyway. Like, most valuable player, what does that even mean? It has so many connotations, so many ridiculous connotations. If Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry so far don't win the MVP award, it's time to change the name to the best quarterback award, because the quarterbacks haven't been at it so far this season. So, yeah, I think we're back to the running game. I think we're back to an NFL of run game and defense. So, yeah, and this game showed it. Where the Eagles just completely controlled that area there. Moving on to a really exciting game in terms of what the weather looked like in Buffalo versus the 49ers. For me, this was one of the easiest bets of the week for me. Let's just go check what the spread was as of game day. The Bills, I believe, where are they? The Bills were 6-point favorites. So the spread was pretty high, but for me, the 49ers just were never going to look at it in that game. They got beaten 35-10. And I think the big question here is, how much can we really read into a snow game? So the Bills played amazing football. That's great. The Buffalo Bills are meant to play amazing football in the snow. They actually get practice of playing football in the snow. Josh Allen did his quarterback time in Wyoming. He did his college time in Wyoming. So I think they're a team that's built to play in the snow. I don't know if their new stadium has a roof on it. I can't remember, but I've just got to beg the Buffalo Bills not to put a roof on their new stadium. I think it is great to watch snow games in Buffalo, and I think it makes Buffalo better as well. So don't put a roof on that stadium. It's interesting, though, how much we should read into a run game. No one could get any purchase on the ground. It was like watching players on ice skates as they were going to go through. I'm surprised that the 49ers didn't run the ball more often. I feel like they put the ball in the hands of Brock Purdy too often there. No one could stop the run in this game because no one could get any traction to get a tackle. So I'm surprised that's the way that they took it. Christian McCaffrey getting injured, obviously, just destroying for the 49ers fans and destroying for Christian McCaffrey himself. Like, that's tough. But in that game, I thought Mixon should have got more there. But just players on ice skates, how much can we read into players on ice skates? So how much can you read into a snow game, really? The Bills, not taken away from the Bills or anything. It's an amazing performance, putting up 35 points in the snow. But The Buffalo Bills are meant to play in the snow. The San Francisco 49ers, surprisingly, they're not meant to play in the snow. So how much can you read into a snow game? Also, guys, is the NFL waking up to the beauty of a lateral offload? Like everybody losing their minds over Josh Allen catching an offload. This is what we call it in rugby. I think it's just a lateral, but an offload is a lateral whilst in a tackle. That's what we call an off. That's what an offload is, and everybody's going crazy about Josh Allen taking this offload. And I think it's just the NFL waking up to the beauty of it. Like whenever I sit and I watch football with my family, we all play rugby. We watch rugby all the time. Like obviously British. I'm the Brit. There we go. I'm the Brit, so British, and we watch rugby all the time. And we sometimes watch these things, and it's like, if they learn to lateral it there, there's a 2-on-1 situation. And if you learn to lateral there, that's a guaranteed touchdown. That's a guaranteed touchdown on 2-on-1 moments there. I understand why you can't do it all the fucking time. Like possession is such an important thing, but especially if you're a team that is struggling to score points, but whacking a few lateral plays, no one ever seems to suspect it. So I love that the NFL's waking up to that. I think the biggest questions to come out of this game, because as I said at the start, we can't really take this on an actual game basis just because of the snow. I think bad weather kind of takes over a game here, and the analysis becomes really difficult. Where do the 49ers go from here is one question. And also, is this the Bills in their best Super Bowl window? But for me, you look at this 49ers team and they're injured again. Christian McCaffrey going down. They're injured again. So where do they go from here? And the only answer has to be, we have to get younger. The 49ers as a football team have to get younger. They can't keep on building this top-heavy roster with injury-filled players. It doesn't work for you guys. It's not working. They need to get younger. They need to attack the draft. And if I was them, I'd be looking for some draft picks for some of those blue-chip players that they're holding on to. They seem to have meant their bed in terms of the wide receiver here with Brandon Ayuk over Deebo Samuels. If I was them, I've got Ricky Pearsall, who looks good. I've got Juwan Jennings, who looks good. Trade Brandon Ayuk. Trade away Brandon Ayuk. You'll get a first-round pick for Brandon Ayuk. There's a blue-chip player that you can add in to the defense who's young, who's fit, hopefully. If they can make that a left tackle, then that'd be great. The 49ers currently, with the way that they're playing, they look like they'll be a top 10 draft pick. So they might be able to actually get Trent Williams' replacement here as well. But they can get rid of Brandon Ayuk. They can get rid of some of the members of that defense that have been so stout. I would hold on to Bosa if I was them. But I would be maybe looking to trade some of those interior defensive linemen and stuff like that as well. Get them out the door to a championship contender who can afford to have injured players on their roster as well. They must get younger. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get to a point where Kyle Shanahan thinks, I've taken this as far as I can go. I need a break, and then I'll come back and I'll try again with a different team. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up in that kind of situation either. Just a reminder, guys, the 49ers now have the same record as the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not trying to say that the Dallas Cowboys are great or anything, but I'm just a reminder, when we're all hating on the Dallas Cowboys and we still say the 49ers are great, just remember this. Same record. And are the Bills in their best Super Bowl window? And I think the answer has to be yes, because Josh Allen is in his best Super Bowl window. Josh Allen is playing the best football of his career in terms of actually winning football games. He's not throwing the ball away. He's making good decisions, and he's still keeping the big plays there too. I do think getting Stephon Diggs out of the building actually turned out to be a good thing for them. I thought it was going to be a real problem for them, but it was a good thing. And James Cook is a home run hitter from running back, which me and Jay, as soon as he came out of the draft, said the Bills need to just run him constantly. And turns out we were right again. Woo! But James Cook is great coming out of the running back position, and the defense is better. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad to begin with, but it's better now. So, I think this is definitely the Bills' best Super Bowl window here, because it's Josh Allen's best Super Bowl window, and the Josh Allen Bills. Sorry, the Buffalo Josh Allens. The Buffalo Bills, who are totally made around Josh Allen. I think he's the most important player, obviously, and he's playing the best football of his career right now, in my opinion. Less big plays, but not turning it over. So less big plays for the opposition there. I think we're now moving on to what was my favorite game of the week. This was my favorite game of the week. I really enjoyed this game. It was also one of my best bets. I was blown away by the fact that the team that won this game was an underdog. The Steelers beat the Cincinnati Bengals 44 points to 38. Now, why were the Steelers not favorites in this game to begin with? Because that score sounds kind of close, right? What is that? 6 points in it, which is not entirely close. They were a 3-point dog, right? So, but 6 points in it, that's one score game. But it wasn't that close. This game was not this close. The Bengals scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and one late in the fourth quarter when the game was over. It wasn't this close. This game wasn't close. The Steelers' offense controlled that game entirely. They got up and they were controlling the game. They were trying to stop the Bengals from getting into it. And again, and I say it every fucking time, I feel like I say it every single time we get on this podcast together. I hate prevent defense. What is it with prevent defense? If we're snapping shorts, snap this one. Why do NFL coaches play prevent defense? Can anybody answer that for me? I just don't understand it. If you're going through and you're dominating a team, you're absolutely dominating them. Why not just play your best defense just to keep the throat down there? And I'm not saying play the best players. I'm not saying like if you're worried about injuries and stuff like that, fine, take those players out, but keep to your best scheme, the scheme that is working. They haven't found an answer to it yet. So actually your best bet is to keep playing with the thing that they haven't found an answer to, rather than going to something that gives easy possessions. Now, prevent defense used to work in the NFL when you could smoke players over the top. When wide receivers were scared to go over the middle, when they were scared to go into double and triple coverage, prevent defense worked. But it doesn't work anymore because you can't do that. It's now a passing league, so passing has got so much better, largely to do with things like technology and things like that as well, with the grip on the gloves and roofs on stadiums and all of that kind of thing. If you're not getting any pressure on quarterbacks in the NFL nowadays, they're making 30-yard gains because the wide receivers aren't scared to go over the top and they're all way more athletic. So one-on-one catches are more 60-40. In George Pickens' case, maybe 70-30 towards George Pickens. So what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I don't understand prevent defense in the modern day. Snip over. Yeah, I think something else that was really interesting that came out of the game is just that I feel sorry for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are both going to be stuck in Cincinnati, and they're a franchise that I just don't get and don't understand. They have this great wide receiver duo here. T. Higgins is the lucky one. T. Higgins gets to either get paid huge money to stay in Cincinnati, which I think he'd be stupid to do because you get paid huge money anywhere else to go play anywhere else as well. So T. Higgins is the lucky one. So they have this great wide receiver duo, this great quarterback. They had a good running back. Joe Mixon has shown it this season. I was suspicious because of what he did in Cincinnati, but he's shown it this season. So they have all of these great things around them. And they have a terrible coach. They have a coach that doesn't get them ready to play games. They're not ready at the start of the season. They always start slow. And then their situational football is terrible. Their defense is terrible. The coaching staff, they've given this coaching staff enough opportunity, but they don't fire him because they're an organization that can't afford to pay 2 coaches at the same time. And that's where Joe Burrow is stuck right now. Joe Burrow is having a great season. Despite injury, Joe Burrow is having a great season in the NFL. And he can't do anything because the defense is built wrong, it's coached wrong, and they play poor situational football, especially at the start of the season. And the ownership can't do anything about it because they won't sack the coach because they can't afford to pay 2 coaches at the same time. And that's why I feel sorry for Joe Burrow in this system in Cincinnati. Also, I think one of the biggest mistakes of the Pittsburgh Steelers has been highlighted. It was holding on to Matt Canada for too long. This is a very similar team, very similar setup, at least. Like some of the players are a bit different, but very similar team to the one that Matt Canada had, when Matt Canada refused to do any form of motion, any form of anything, just running straight lines the whole time. And it was the same that he got given with Kenny Pickett in his last season. With the same weapons and those kind of things as well. And I understand that Russell Wilson is an upgrade from Kenny Pickett. Justin Fields is also, in my opinion, a slight upgrade from Kenny Pickett as well, just because of his athleticism. So it gives you a bit more to do. And Justin Fields has a much stronger arm than Kenny Pickett as well. So I do understand that the quarterback players got better. Like, I do get that. But when you just watch this offense, they actually get their players. They get their playmaker, George Pickens. They get him into one-on-one situations. And when he is in one-on-one situations with Russell Wilson's moonball, it's coming down Steelers. That's the way it's coming down. And that's what Matt Canada didn't seem to understand. Get your best player into a one-on-one situation any way that you can and throw the ball to the guy. So I don't understand why they held on to Matt Canada for so long. I think the Steelers are a very loyal organization and people like that about them. Continuity is good. We're going to talk more about that with Bo Nix, about how continuity will really play into how his career will carry on going forward. But Matt Canada was a poor decision to hold on to, and you could have been pushing. They could have been a few further steps ahead in their development process if they had got rid of Matt Canada. And in my opinion, the Steelers are now the third best team in the AFC, behind the Chiefs and the Bills. The Ravens have taken a tumble, even though the Ravens beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers are a better team. Also, nice run game from Najee Harris again, controlling the game. Best slow running back in the NFL. The final game that we're going to go on to here, guys, and thank you for those that are watching. Feel free to comment. Make sure to like and subscribe. All of those things as well. Make sure to come back on Sunday for the show with Jay. But it's the Vikings versus the Cardinals. Jay's beloved Vikings. And I just wanted to look into this game because 23-22 is one weird scoreline here. And another close win for the Vikings. And we all talk about the Chiefs getting these close wins, and very rightly so. They're amazing at it. But the Vikings are making a habit of these close wins too. And a guy who's really making a habit of them is the man with 3 game-winning drives on the season. That's Sam Darnold. Does Sam Darnold have a spot in the NFL next season? Sam Darnold has 8 game-winning drives in his career, and he has 3 this season. That's really impressive, considering the way that the Vikings played at the start, and there was no need for him to game-winning drive anything either. Like, these are all relatively recent, just because of the way that the Vikings were playing football games at the start. So he has 3 game-winning drives. Now, the problem is he also has 10 interceptions. That's 1 less than Patrick Mahomes, though. Patrick Mahomes has 11 interceptions on the year. Sam Darnold has 10, which isn't good, and he makes them at bad times in the end zone. And I get it. I get it. If he's your starting quarterback, I'm not the happiest. But he's having a great season, in my opinion. He's also top 10 in the league in yards as well. And I think when we look at Sam Darnold going into the NFL, staying in the NFL next season, whether that's at the Vikings to give JJ McCarthy another year, or whether that's, I don't know, the Giants, if they don't get who they want, the Raiders, I think he would be great at. Look at the coaches who like him. Look at the coaches who like Sam Darnold and come out and say great things about Sam Darnold. Kyle Shanahan took him to San Francisco because he likes him from his time in Washington as well. He likes, not Washington. Sorry, getting him confused with Kirk Cousins now. But Sam Darnold, from his time at the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan likes him. Sean Payton came out and said, I would like Sam Darnold at the Denver Broncos. Now, Sam Darnold chose, the Broncos decided to go in a different direction, and Sam Darnold went to Minnesota instead, but Sean Payton likes him. And KOC proved to be a great coach, clearly likes Sam Darnold. He's the guy they picked him up as well. So look at the coaches that like him. That's really high praise and shows that he knows what he's doing in an NFL jersey. And guys, he'll be playing as a starting quarterback in the NFL next season, whether that's in the purple or whether that's anywhere else. He'll be playing in the NFL next season. And I just want to address, like, how should Vikings fans feel about this season? Guys, the Detroit Lions are having the best season that they've ever had. You're 1 game behind them, and you're in a rebuild. Let's make no mistake here. The Vikings, me and Jay said the media was way off the Vikings. They're going to do really well. And obviously a bit of our show bias with Jay being a Vikings fan. And I think the Vikings tend to be one of my sweetheart teams going forward as well. I live in York, which was the Viking capital of the UK. Like, I like the Vikings. I think they're a fun team to support, especially when you're British. But at the start of the season, we said the media is so wrong on the Vikings. They're a good team. They're a solid team. Brian Flores got that defense ticking at the end of the year. But realistically, nobody thought that they were going to be this. Nobody thought they were NFC contenders. And whether you do think they're NFC contenders now or not, their record suggests that they are. I'm sorry, the record speaks for itself. It suggests that they are in a really difficult division. Not easy schedules, not easy wins on their win sheet. So for me, the Vikings fans should be excited. Vikings fans should be excited about their NFL season. Oh no, Sam Darnold throws 10 interceptions. That's okay. He's not your QB of the future. That's JJ McCarthy. Your non-QB of the future, your bridge quarterback is doing this, has led 3 game-winning drives in your offense. The defense is brilliant under Brian Flores and will only continue to get better as they're allowed to add more and more pieces. The Vikings offense is kind of done. Like, it's kind of finished. You don't need to add much more to that. Great running back pickup in Aaron Jones. Offensive line is kind of semi-fixed. Wouldn't mind having a bit more depth. JJ, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, a lot of sons there. Very, very Vikings, very Minnesota, a lot of sons there. That offense is finished, and add little bits to it by all means and those kind of things. But blue chip draft players on that defense are just going to make it better and better and better as you go through. So I think Vikings fans should be really happy about their season. And I understand that the way it looked at the start to be undefeated and now to have 3 losses. 2 losses. Like, I get why that's frustrating, and playing a few teams close that you shouldn't have played. I get why that's frustrating, but you guys are way ahead of where you should be in terms of your build so far this season. And the Arizona Cardinals have also had a great start to the season and have kind of tailed off. And I wonder how you gain consistency in an NFL franchise. What's the piece that you put in to gain consistency? And it has to be the coaching staff. It has to be remaining consistent with your coaching staff. And I think the coaching staff in Arizona have done enough to obviously say that. Kyler Murray will just get better and better and better. For me, they need to build that offensive line out more and more and more and get strong at that offensive line position. They've actually got some nice weapons there. They can take a speed wide receiver in the 3rd, 4th round, and that will be a great pickup for them going forward. And then draft O-line. The defense is playing hard, and it's kind of like they have this weird, freaky defense that they seem to run every year where they just put loads of athletes on the field and say, go. And I like that. I like that about them. So the Cardinals are where they are on defense. If I was them, I'd fix the offensive line and then I'd move over onto defense, and hopefully that would promote some consistency, because I think their defense is consistent. It's just not star quality, whereas their offense is sometimes star quality and sometimes not good at all. So some consistency on towards more of the star quality for the offense should sort everything out there. So Vikings get another win, and they're still just 1 game behind the Lions. Their amazing season from the Vikings. Guys, that is reactions to week 13 over, done with. That's normal reactions. Now these are my week 13 overreactions. Segment 2, week 13 overreactions. Let's go. So the point of these overreactions are kind of like the shouty show things in terms of overreaction here, where they may be a bit over the top, they're maybe not quite right, but I love them and I believe in them. I believe in them, but I understand that they're over the top. And for me, this shouldn't even be an overreaction at this point in the season, but it seems to be when you listen to all the other shows and when you look at the Vegas boards. The Kansas City Chiefs are 3rd favorites to win the Super Bowl this season. Overreaction number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs should still be favorites to win the Super Bowl this season. People just don't understand and haven't understood for 2 years what the Kansas City Chiefs are. They're a run-first team that control games with a great defense. That's what they are now. That's what they have been for 2 seasons. We talk about all the other teams' injury issues. The Kansas City Chiefs have been down wide receiver 1, down wide receiver 2, and down running back 1. The whole like for a large portion of the season. And guess what? Last year when everybody said it was the time to take out the Chiefs and they won the Super Bowl, they already have the same amount of wins as they did last season. And everybody hasn't realized that that's what the Chiefs are now. Now, I hate the stat that's going around of the Chiefs have now won 14 consecutive one-score games. It's a cool stat. It's great for champions. And people are comparing it to the Patriots' 13-point games. But just a reminder, they've only won, I think, 2 games with double digits this season, maybe 3 games in double digits this season, and they haven't beaten anybody by 20. They haven't blown anyone out. In the same period, the Patriots were also blowing people out and beating people by double digits as well. So, yeah, don't love that, but they still should be favorites to win the NFL. They're the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the best coach, the best quarterback, and they have a great defense, and that's what the Patriots did for years. Overreaction number 2. Jameis Winston has to be in the NFL next season. Why are we creating an NFL where Jameis Winston doesn't fit into a starting job? If you're a team that doesn't really have much of a chance to win, but you can take off win a Super Bowl, but you can take off big scalps if you just have those games, then Jameis Winston is the guy for you. Why is Jameis Winston not going to be a Raider next season? He'll be an excellent Raider. Yeah, all right, he threw 2 interceptions. It was the most Jameis Winston game ever this week. This was the most Jameis Winston game ever. But that Browns team isn't good. Jerry Jeudy hadn't done anything in the NFL until Jameis Winston started throwing to him. So I'm not saying he's a world beater. But what I am saying is the NFL needs players like Jameis Winston, like Will Levis. That's what the NFL needs. So Jameis Winston, it's not Jameis Winston is going to be in the NFL next season. That's not the overreaction. The overreaction is Jameis Winston has to be in the NFL next season. And my final overreaction here, and again, I think I might have gone a bit tame on these overreactions, guys. Dave Canales is the quarterback whisperer. Dave Canales is a head coach in the NFL. The Carolina Panthers have the worst roster on paper in the NFL. Go through their roster. It's diabolical. The Giants have a much better roster than they do on paper. Like when you go look at the players. Bryce Young at the start of the season got benched. Everybody was calling Bryce Young a bust. Everybody has been patting the Bears on the back, and rightly so for the Bears. But he's been packing the Bears saying, "Oh, you could have ended up with Bryce Young. That's lucky. You've ended up with Caleb Williams and all of these picks." Since David Canales has got Bryce Young looks good. Bryce Young looks like he should be starting in the NFL. His best game of the season this week. So for me, Dave Canales is the QB whisperer. So just to go back over those, the Chiefs should still be favorites to win the NFL. Jameis Winston has to be in the NFL next season. And Dave Canales is the QB whisperer. And those are my overreactions for week 13. Now, our final pieces of week 13 content coming on here. It's Rookie QB Watch. And as we go into Rookie QB Watch, I'm going to take the quickest drink ever because we're doing this live. And normally I'm able to throw this over to Jay. I've been talking straight now for 40 minutes without a sip of water. So I'm just going to take a quick drink while you guys settle down and wait for Rookie QB Watch. Sorry about that. Also should have muted the microphone. Oh, God, I can speak again. This is amazing. What we need, guys, just while we're on this, what we need is some ads here. So if you have any companies that you want to promote, get in contact with us. Get in contact with us and we'll promote them, because then the ad breaks can give me and Jay a nice little break to have a coffee, a tea, juice. I've got squash here, very British thing. I understand here that you guys don't really drink much of this, Americans. Squash, which is just like cordial, you just add water to it. The amount of Americans that I've shown squash and they've taken it and just started drinking the cordial. It's like super concentrated juice, basically. So, yeah, you don't want any of that. I'm going to have another sip. Okay. Moving into rookie QB watch, where we look at how our rookie QBs are doing this season. And guys, Jaden Daniels is back on track. 4 touchdowns against a stout NFL defense in the Tennessee Titans. And they are going into the perfect time for a bye week. Watching that game, like as much as it pains me, again in the Cowboys division, the Washington Commanders having a great game there. They killed the Tennessee Titans defense. Going into this game, the Tennessee Titans are one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL in terms of all the stats, like not necessarily in terms of their impact on game. When you look at them on fantasy points, they just have such a difficult time with their offense putting them in shit situations because of Will Levis, again, a guy who should have a space in the NFL. The NFL's better with Will Levis in it. It's just your team's not necessarily much better with Will Levis in it. 4 touchdowns against the stout NFL defense and a perfect time to have a bye. Going into the bye, he that rib injury has affected him more than we know. That rib injury has affected him, and now they've just come off a 4 touchdown game and they're going into a bye. He's going to come back firing, ready for the playoffs. This is a great time to have a bye for a team if you've had a good season. If you've had a good season throughout, this is a great time for a bye because it sets you up nicely to go for your playoff run. Also, how good is Bo Nix? That's a question being bounded around the NFL at the moment. How good is Bo Nix? And for me, I think Bo Nix is going to be a really good, serviceable NFL QB. Top tier, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield. I like the Baker Mayfield comp, actually. That's probably the best one for me. Baker Mayfield, there you go. But what's important, he's been accurate. He's got underrated in terms of his athleticism. He's great athletically. But what we need to realize here is he's gone to the perfect situation for him with a head coach in Sean Payton that knows how to get the most out of a quarterback. We saw it with Drew Brees there. The Broncos also have the best O-line in the NFL when it comes to pressure allowed. So he has plenty of time to sit back, throw the ball. Now that can be down to him as well. It's important that pressure isn't just a QB, isn't just an O-line stat, it's a QB stat as well. So his athleticism allows him to run around in the pocket. He's got good pocket awareness from the games that I've seen, and he gets rid of the ball kind of semi-quickly as well. So yeah, Bo Nix, I think he's good. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, and I think there'll be times where he's a top 10, there'll be times where he's top 15. That's where he'll be for his entire NFL career, in my opinion. And if you have those guys, you can go to NFC, maybe the Broncos, you can go to AFC Championship games, especially with the defense that they're building there. Also, rookie quarterback that we've not really spoken about much yet, but it's Michael Penix. Should Michael Penix be starting for the Falcons? Shouty show content right there. No, Michael Penix should not be starting for the Atlanta Falcons. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is I don't think Kirk Cousins looks entirely washed when he's going back through there. Yes, another 4th quarter comeback failure for Kirk Cousins here. That's 2 in a row. Not good, and not a good game for the Atlanta Falcons offense at all. But the Falcons are still tied at the top of the NFC South. Kirk Cousins still is top 8 in passing yards in the NFL this season. He's been playing fine. He's just made some poor decisions in the 4th quarter. And finally, Jay will love it. If Jay, if you're watching this back after your lovely, lovely date with your wife's birthday, are the Falcons' weapons as good as we think coming into this season? I thought the Falcons' weapons were amazing. I thought Arthur Smith was the problem with the Falcons' weapons. But look at what's happening with Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh. We spoke about it. Look at what's happening with Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh. We've seen it. Are the Falcons' weapons actually that good? Is Kyle Pitts one of the bigger busts in the NFL? What is going on with Kyle Pitts? Drake London got injured early on in that game. He took a beating. They don't run the ball through Bijan Robinson enough for me, but I don't think their offensive line is good enough to do that. So for me, so that's one reason. Kirk Cousins is fine. The second reason is that's going to hurt Michael Penix's development. Michael Penix, you've now drafted him for 2 years' time. So stay on the course with that. Whatever's going on, stay on the course with that. If by some horrible twist of fate for you guys, you don't have a chance to make it to the playoffs, all right, play the last game of the season, Michael Penix, and we see what we got. And if you got something, you've got it. And if he doesn't, that's okay, because you weren't planning for him to play next season anyway. You got him for in 2 years' time, so just stick to the plan. I hate it when people come in with good plans and then just change them because a few things goes wrong. We've seen it in fantasy football in our league so far this season. A lot of people got impatient with their plan, and now they've traded everyone away, and now they're not winning games. I, however, clinched the first round bye in our playoffs with a week to spare. So, cheers, guys. Caleb Williams. Is Caleb Williams playing well enough to win? Yes. Yes. Caleb Williams is playing good enough football to win these games. Caleb Williams is not the problem in Chicago. Anybody that's saying that isn't watching the game properly. They're watching the box score. Caleb Williams is controlling that team. Caleb Williams is finding his players, and Caleb Williams got shafted by the coaches again, and now the coaches have gone. So let's see what Caleb Williams goes through here. And I think Caleb Williams is living up to the first round pick hype. It's just Jaden Daniels is also amazing and went to a great situation. Caleb Williams just didn't go to as good of a situation. That's it. And it was as good of a situation with coaches. The weapons kind of a wash. All right, now final bit of week 13 here is the week 13 awards. So my week 13 MVPs. So because we had do a week 13 MVP and a week 13 rookie MVP, but both of my MVP awards this week are rookies. So my week 13 MVP is Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels looked great. I could have given it to Josh Allen for his game in the snow, but I'm not putting loads of time on those snow games. Jaden Daniels, 4 touchdowns, immense. Completely controlled that game against a really good defense. Completely controlled it. And then my week 13 rookie MVP, which I know Jaden Daniels is also a rookie, is Brock Bowers. Hasn't got enough shout outs on the show so far. He went 140 yards against the Chiefs defense in a team where he's the only weapon and he has no quarterback and there's no offensive line and they can't run the fucking ball. And he got 140 yards against a good defense, championship defense there. Brock Bowers has 184 yards in the season, leads all rookie receiving weapons, and that's 10 yards per reception for Brock Bowers as well. Brock Bowers, rookie MVP of the week. Jaden Daniels, week 13 MVP. And now we make it on to the Thursday night game preview, the thing they've all been waiting for. 15 minutes until kickoff here. We're reaching 1 a.m. in the UK. So the things I do for you guys, staying up till 1 a.m. to do our pregame show. Class. The Lions are 3-point favorites in this game versus the Green Bay Packers. It's in Detroit. And I think the biggest question is how much of the Lions' injury is going to affect them in this game. The Lions' injuries were crazy. The Lions are a beaten up team, completely injured everywhere. But do you know where they're not injured? Their run game. Their O-line. That's what's winning them football games. If I'm the Detroit Lions, I make sure the Packers offense spends as little time on the field as possible. Don't let them touch the grass. Run the ball, win by 3, 4 points, and get out of there and get healthy. I think the Lions might actually have one of the best running games in the NFL here. Well, they do have one of the best running games in the NFL without a doubt here. They just don't have the big, like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. They do it in tandem. They do it with Montgomery and they do it with Jamar Gibbs, who do both totally different things, and they kill it. And their O-line just destroys and road grades people. They shouldn't give the Packers an opportunity to get anywhere near this game. Lions, situational football, look what's going on. And Dan Campbell, you don't need to go for it on 4th down in this game. Like, make sure your defense isn't getting put in difficult positions here. Like, you don't have to do it like the whole time. Like, okay, I get it, 4th and 1 in their half, fine. But if I'm the Lions, I'm playing quite conservative this game and just getting out with the win here. I think we are back to a run game NFL. I think we are back to a game of run game first in the NFL. Play behind good defense. Make sure these great quarterbacks that we have in the league at the moment don't spend as much time on the park. And Jordan Love in these past 3 games has shown that he might be the answer to the Packers' future. I personally am not sure he's the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre guy. He's a bit inconsistent for me. That's largely down to his throwing mechanics. John Love still only throws off the back foot. But his past 3 games have looked really fucking good. So keep him off the field. And guys, if you're betting on yardage this week, I think you might be in for an exciting opportunity here. These 2 defenses have put up the 2nd and 3rd most yardage in the NFL. These 2 offensives, the 2nd and 3rd most yardage in the NFL. So look out for those kind of bets when you're going in. I think we're in for a fun game. The Lions are 3-point favorites going into this. Give me the Lions in this one. And for the sake of our spreadsheets and our competitions here at the Yankee and the Brit, Jay has sent me over his picks, and he is also picking the Lions to win by 3. Lions win here. They move on to 12-1 on the season, and they do it through the run game. Run the ball, keep the Packers off the field, and keep your injured defense off the field as well. That's the way that they win this game. Okay, moving on now to our best bets of the week. It's been our segment that's working the best throughout our entire show. We are getting really good wins here. As I said at the start of the show, for those of you who are joining as we go through, I am 24-15 in our best bet so far. I went 3-0 last week, betting on the Cowboys to beat the Giants by more than 3.5, the Steelers to win by 3.5, and the Steelers to win the game against the Bengals, and the Rams to win the game by more than 2.5. So I went 3-0 last week. Jay missed out by 0.5 point because the Texans couldn't cover that spread. 0.5 point. That's really unfortunate. 0.5 point against the Jags there. And this week, I've got mine and Jay's best bets ready to tell you. So get your notebooks out. Don't bet money that you can't afford to lose. And enjoy your week of football with these bets. First up, I have the Chicago Bears covering the spread by 3.5 points. They're 3.5 point dogs to the 49ers. To me, the 49ers are a broken team. The Chicago Bears should have won their last 2 games, but through bad coaching decisions lost them. They now don't have those coaches, and they get the new coach bump. For me, the 49ers are an injured team. They're down. Brock Purdy is auditioning for his contract right now. The 49ers GM has said it. He's auditioning for his contract. How's that pressure going to go? The Bears defense has been playing good football, and the 49ers are a down team. Bears, dogs by 3.5. I'm taking the Bears on this one. Jay's first pick here as well. So I'll move over and I'll say Jay's first pick is the Bucks, who are 6.5 point favorites against the Raiders. I like this one. It's a little bit too much for my blood in terms of the spreads here, just with the way the Buccaneers played against the Panthers. But the way that the Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield connection looked, and Mike Evans is healthy going into this week, I could see them smashing the Raiders by 14. So I'd take the Bucks in that one as well. The Bucks at 6.5. Me and Jay have agreed on our second ones here. We've both taken the Titans at -3 to beat the Jags. The Titans are playing against Mac Jones's Jags now. Mac Jones played okay against a really good defense in the Vikings. I think the Titans defense will be hurt coming off that game against the Commanders. I think they're going to be stout on the run, and I think they're going to be after Mac Jones throughout this game. Give me the Titans at 3. Give me the Titans winning by more than 3. As long as Will Levis doesn't turn the ball over, hopefully, then that should be enough. Jay's final pick here is he is taking the Buffalo Bills as 3.5-point favorites against the Rams. Yeah, I kind of saw this one as an honorable mention, but couldn't decide on it too much. The Bills are playing some of their best football. We've already spoken about it, and the Rams are maybe like taking a bit of a downturn this year, just due to injuries, and that offensive line is too inconsistent as well. So I like that one as well. The Bills at 3.5, and my final bet of the week is the LA Chargers, who are 4-point dogs against the Kansas City Chiefs. The LA Chargers play close games. The Kansas City Chiefs play close games. This game is going to be within a field goal. This game is within a field goal, definitely. I can't tell which way. That's where we're at here. I love the Chargers, the way that they're putting that offense together. I wish the run game, I wish they didn't have Dobbins down. I wish they could find more run game there, but Justin Herbert is having a really strange season where he's only thrown for about 12 touchdowns, I think, but he's also only thrown for 1 interception as well. Lad McConkey's really coming into his own now. Quentin Johnson learned how to catch the ball last week, which is a good improvement. They didn't need to throw to Disley last week at all, but Disley's been having a really good season at tight end as well. So for me, the Chargers-Chiefs game is going to be within a field goal, so give me the Chargers as a 4-point dog. And I'll take that right there. I will take that to the bank. And now, guys, with 10 minutes to go before kickoff, I'm going to end this tour de force of an hour-long show that I've managed to do by myself. My girlfriend calls me a yapper all the time, so I'm clearly happy yapping away here. I'm going to go drink about 3 gallons of squash, and I'm going to leave you to enjoy your evening, enjoy some NFL football, an NFC North clash between the Lions and the Packers. I hope this week treats you well. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe. See you on Sunday for our show. We have a college football show on Saturdays as well. Also, make sure to tune in to MMA Underground as well throughout the week. Guys, what really helps us is if you like this video, subscribe this video, and just share it somewhere. Like, just share it wherever you want. But make sure to subscribe. And guys, if you see any of our shorts coming up on YouTube, just give them a view for us as well. It's really helpful to us and what we do here. So thank you very much, guys. And as Jay would say, one world, one love, deuces. And then I would say, cheerio.